What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Sunday. It feels weird saying Sunday instead of Saturday. Sunday, February 22nd, 2026, and we are back with a weekly recap here on the Torian Ring Reloaded channel. Yes, I know I am a day late with this. I was just unavailable yesterday to do it, and I said I'm going to go ahead and do it today. And it was even up in the air whether I was going to do it today or not, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But shout out to everybody that is here so far. Shout out to everyone in the chat, all the members, all the mods, everybody over in the Discord, everybody on Patreon. Shout out to you as well. We have quite a few things that we're going to discuss today. If you're new to the channel, I'm glad that you are here. Hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. So, yeah, I was a little bit busy yesterday. I was out and about. And like I said, it was up in the air whether I was even going to do it today because I initially was supposed to go in today as far as like the place of employment, but the weather's supposed to be a little iffy later on, and I'm not trying to deal with that when I have to get off. So to play it safe, I decided I just called out. It got approved, and they'll see me on Wednesday. But shout out again to everybody that is here so far. I'm glad that you all are here. I hope everybody had a good and safe and warm weekend, especially if you are in an area where it is kind of cold, because it is very cold here today and wet and damp and probably going to be snowing in a couple of hours because that's what they say we're going to get. But let me go ahead and acknowledge those who are here or came in early or are here now. We got Scoop, we got Joseph, Miss Nisi, Hurricane Nisi, Frontline Black, Newsliner, L, Firebat, Reparation Nation, KG, Andrea, Prime, 07118. Shout out to Tyrone Williams for subscribing to the channel. I appreciate it. We got Cosma. He says, so far the snowfall isn't that bad in New Jersey. Well, that's good because hopefully that'll mean the same for us because I do not want a repeat of what we had to deal with at the end of January. And I don't think it's going to get to that point because it's not that freezing. It's like only 36 degrees and I think we're now in the mix. Initially it was just rain, but now I think the mix is happening, like it's now turned into freezing rain, and then once it's done with that, it's going to transition into just snow for the next few hours. I think it's supposed to come in like around 5 o'clock and snow and stay like that until like 4 in the morning. We got Church, J Cage, and that is it so far in the in the chat. And shout out to all the lurkers because I know I didn't read 30 names, but shout out to y'all regardless. Also, I just finished the book Burn Down Master's House by Clay Kane. Listen, that book was phenomenal. 10s across the board for that book. If you have not read that book, if you're in the Discord, I just posted the book in the Discord. I took a picture of it and posted in it if anybody would like to read it. I truly believe that they could turn and adapt that book into a multi-season show. Each chapter alone could be a season because the chapters were very long. It's only 4 chapters in the whole book, but each chapter is like 50 plus pages. So I said every chapter could be a season, which means it could be 4 seasons long, in my honest opinion. And I think there's people that's been reaching out to him that's been trying to get a deal worked. So if they ever adapt that into a show, I would be all for it. And usually I don't watch a lot of shows that, I mean, I do watch shows that can be adapted from something, but I never got the source material before watching the show. Think Game of Thrones and stuff like that. I never read not one Game of Thrones book, but I watched the show. At least if they turned this into a show, I can say that, okay, I know where this is from and I know where that's from. But it was a real good book overall. I would highly recommend y'all get that and read it. And I read 10 pages a day just so I could digest what it was that I was reading. Shout out to AW1. Shout out to you. Shout out to D Money as well. So let me go ahead now and just go ahead and get started with this. Like I said, we have a few things that we're going to talk about. And of course, you know how we always do at the end. I drop the link and let people come up and say what they want to say about the stories that we went over. And shout out to AW1 for being a member for 45 months. He said, "You're the man, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Shout out to each and every one of you." So let's go ahead now and get started. And of course, you know, whenever there's a story that's very positive that I want to acknowledge, I always start with that first. And I think this story right here is the perfect way to kick everything off.
Myles, he's a 3rd grader from Detroit that just got accepted into Mensa, a high IQ society, and he's only 8 years old.
I got one of the highest scores on the IQ test. It makes me really proud of myself.
Myles is reading and solving math problems way beyond his years.
When he started reading words that I couldn't read or correcting me when I was reading books to him, I was like, okay, this is it.
His achievement is making his parents, teachers, and entire community proud.
What was that about the saying that black people have a very low IQ? Meanwhile, this little boy got accepted into the Mensa program, and you have to be like your brain has to be like on another level with intelligence in order to get accepted into that. They can't say DEI did this, but congratulations to him and shout out to him. And shout out to his parents as well. I thought it was funny at the end when his mother said when he was correcting me on words that I was mispronouncing, that's when she knew something was special about him. When I first heard about this, Chaz, it is. That's why I love highlighting these stories whenever I get a chance. And I know I usually sometimes will post them in the community tab. I don't know why I didn't, but I think I said, let me just go ahead and just save it for the live. That way y'all can see it in real time. But yeah, shout out to and congratulations to him. That is definitely something to celebrate. But we all know mainstream media ain't going to talk about it. That's why you got me. Shout out to Church for being a member for 19 months. He says, congratulations, little man. Definitely. Congratulations to him. Shout out to him. And also shout out to his parents, for raising such a bright young kid. And like, he's not even a teen. So imagine what he's going to be like when he turns 13, go throughout his teen. Listen, like, what is that old saying? The world is your oyster. Shout out to Wallow J for being a member for 23 months. He says, salute everyone. I appreciate you. All right, so we got the good part out of the way. Let's go into the somber news. So there was some losses that we did have this week, and I'm going to start with this one. Now, I know how some of you feel in the chat about this individual right here, but I have to highlight him anyway. So as y'all already know, civil rights leader Jesse Jackson passed away this week, from health complications. He has been sick for a while now, so it was literally just one of those things where it was a matter of time. And, he passed away this week. And also, I think did I miss? Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Niece. I forgot your highlight. Appreciate all your hard work and forming the family. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Because like I said, y'all are the reason I'm doing this. Ms. Nisi, I didn't get a chance to listen to TB's broadcast last night. Like I said, I was out and about, so I didn't get a chance to listen to anybody yesterday. So I'm playing catch up. So I'm gonna probably have to listen to it today. And then I was so tired, and that's probably another reason why I called out today, because I was so exhausted. Like I wouldn't have been able to function. So I'll have to play catch up and listen to it. But when I saw it, I think that was a pretty long broadcast, because I saw when he went live, and then a few hours had passed, and I went and looked on my homepage, and he was still live. So he was on for at least 3 hours. At least 3 hours. So that was one right there. The next one that we lost was actor Robert Duvall. For those of y'all who know, he was an actor, real famous, world-renowned actor, multi-award-winning actor. He was very well known for, The Godfather. He did other roles as well. At first, I had to think about who it was, and then I pulled up his picture, and I was like, oh, this guy. Now, I got more familiar with him when he was older, definitely out of his prime, because of course, when he was in his prime, like in his younger years, I definitely wasn't born yet. I'm sure Miss Nisi and all my boomers and my early Gen Xers knows of his earlier works. Yeah, he was 95, so he lived a very, very full life. Yes, the movie Colors. I did hear of the movie Colors. But yes, he passed away at the age of 95. But we also lost another person, another actor, and this one just happened, and that's the actor Eric Dane. He was famously known for being on the show Grey's Anatomy. I can say that I never watched one episode of Grey's Anatomy, but I know it has a very heavy following. I think it's still on. I don't know how many seasons it's been, but this show is running is like literally the Law and Order of ER shows at this point. But he was on Grey's Anatomy. But I know him more for being in one of my current favorite shows, Euphoria, which the next season, I think this might be the last season, is coming on in April, which means if he's in this season, then he's already filmed his scenes. But his character on that show was out of control, especially in the second season. He was also the villain in Bad Boys Ride or Die, which was the last Bad Boys movie that came out was it 2 years ago? Now 2 years ago. He was the villain in that. Well, Ms. Nisa, you just basically put it out there for me. I said you said you were an avid Grey's Anatomy watcher. JK said my mom and sister love Grey's Anatomy. It seemed like a lot of women loved Grey's Anatomy. It's like every time I heard someone talk about Grey's Anatomy, I rarely heard a man talk about that show. It was always usually women that was talking about it. Jesse said I watched it before. A couple of episodes wasn't my cup of tea. You talking about Euphoria? Yeah, it's not. Euphoria is a show that's not for everybody, but it's just like, if y'all remember the show Degrassi that was on back in the day, the show that Aubrey was on before he became Drake, it's like that, but on steroids. I would argue and say that it's more extreme, very extreme, especially with the themes that the show has. But one of the last messages that Eric Dane had, he made a video on Netflix, and the Netflix YouTube channel had posted it, and it was a dedication video that he did for his daughters. And it was very sad. I'm going to be completely honest. It was one of the things that if you look at it, it'll probably bring you like thug tears to your eyes. Because it's like he kind of knew that his time was almost up. And I forgot to mention he was suffering from ALS. That's what he was suffering from. And he was for a while, but it just got advanced, and it eventually, it took him out. But he made a video dedicated to his daughters, and they put it up on Netflix. And it's just him sitting in a chair, and it's almost like he's having a conversation to his kids. But sad either way. All right, RIP to him. He was a very talented actor. Like every role that I saw him in, especially when he was playing the bad guy, he killed it every single time. Because I couldn't stand him in Euphoria. You right, Cosmo. I forgot that Drake is Aubrey is the executive. Is he still the executive producer? I know he was the EP the first season. I don't know if he's still attached to it or not. Yeah, but either way, RIP to him. Now let's get into these wild stories we got going on today. So the first one we got right here, I'm not even going to go into the title of it. I'm just let the video play and we'll discuss it after.
Breaking tonight, the man accused in the murder of 17-year-old Tania Titi Tovar is now behind bars. Hello, I'm Athena Gerage. Imperial County Sheriff's confirming to News Channel 3 that 51-year-old Abraham Feinbloom was arrested Friday morning after a search warrant was served at a home on Harlequin Court in Sultan City. Feinbloom is now facing murder and resisting arrest charges and is being held without bail. News Channel 3 was the first to bring you confirmation of an arrest in this case, and tonight we are bringing you new details you won't see anywhere else. We go straight to Garrett Hoddle in studio with more.
We had this information from the very beginning. We were just waiting for official confirmation, and now we have it. This is the man, and this is the moment. 51-year-old Abraham Feinbloom was taken into custody on Friday morning. According to the Imperial County Sheriff's Office, Feinbloom was seen jumping a fence in what appeared to be an attempt to invade law enforcement as agents closed in. He was immediately detained, turned over to the FBI for questioning, and later booked into the Imperial County Jail. He's now being charged with murder and resisting a peace officer. He's being held without bail. Throughout this story, I've spoken with friends of Tania and her mother, Charo, several times, including this morning. We've been in contact for the last 2 weeks, but Charo has been battling for justice since her daughter went missing in December. She gave me permission to share this voicemail she left me Friday morning as agents closed in on Feinbloom.
SWAT, FBI are at Abraham's house to arrest him. Thank God that he has been arrested. I already knew this all along. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father God. They are arresting Abraham.
Since February 6th, when FBI agents were first seen searching the home property, requested court documents, and have been asking police questions every day. We're working for more details about Abraham Feinbloom and the timeline of Tania's disappearance. I've been speaking with family and friends of Tania throughout this investigation. They told me this is a moment they prayed for, but it's also a painful reminder of everything they've lost. They want justice. They want answers. We'll continue covering this case with that in focus. For now, in studio, Garrett Hoddle, News Channel 3.
Okay, so y'all just heard the story right there, but there was some things that were left out, and it's understandable why as things was left out. Apparently, this young lady whose name is Tania, I don't know if she like had conversations with this man. Apparently, they were talking and they met up. And to not go too graphic with this, let's just say when they found her, or when they let's put it this way, he dismembered her. Let me see if I can find an article to go along with this. Okay, so let me bring this up right quick, y'all, because again the video doesn't do it justice. So let me share this right quick. Man charged with murder after partial remains of missing Hemet teen found. When 17-year-old Tania Tovar stopped answering her mother's calls on December 1st, Charo Tovar knew something was wrong. The teenager had run away from her foster group in Hemet, but mother and daughter remained in close contact through shared calls and texts. Then suddenly the phone went silent. The location sharing app was off, but when a friend of her daughter sent Tovar a message over social media to say Tania was missing, she immediately contacted authorities. She also posted on TikTok, Snapchat, and Facebook pleading for help. Strangers began sharing her daughter's photos and stories across platforms. They said, "I have to thank people for sharing my daughter's story. I appreciate it so much." It says she had last been seen dropped off at a home on Harlequin Court in Sultan City. The home belongs to 51-year-old Abraham Feinbloom. It says Imperial County Sheriff's deputies conducted welfare checks of the resident in December after pleading from Tovar. Meanwhile, the family put up missing person flyers hoping for information. On December 21st, investigators discovered a dismembered leg in a nearby field. It wasn't until February 6th that DNA confirmed testing that the remains belonged to Tania. They also have alleged that bullet fragments were recovered from the remains, leading them to believe that she was killed by gunshot. So yeah, he took her out and then he dismembered her. And like someone said in the chat, it reminds them of Sade Robinson. And you know, that was the case that happened a couple years ago. And now the person who did that, he's in jail for the rest of his life, rightfully so. And I believe the same thing should definitely happen with this dude. Yeah, Andre, definitely evil demonic behavior for sure. Anyone who would do something like that, they can't, there's no redeemable qualities. They cannot be redeemed. Scoop said Hemet is a white supremacist land. That whole area, he said Mr. Tendernism was out that way. That's and while I think you asked earlier, where did this happen at? This happened in Sultan City, California. I'm gonna be honest, I never heard of Sultan City. But yeah, that's like sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. Reparations says, which is why he wouldn't have made it to the police. Oh yeah, if you said if it had been up to you, I'm sure that would have been the same if it would have been up to any of us. But that's crazy. Let me move on now to this next story. And this is coming out of Texas. I always call Texas the NRA's favorite state, but apparently they also are a huge WS haven, just like most states are. So this story right here, got me feeling some type of way in more ways than one. Look at this title. Texas teen awarded $3.2 million jury verdict after mom of boy tricked into drinking pee claimed he was racist. So basically, in layman's terms, you had this PC teenager who tricked this black woman's son into drinking urine, and they said it was a racist act in which he did, and then it went to trial. They said that the teen, what he did was not a racist act, and to retaliate against the mother and her attorneys, and as far as I'm concerned, her kid, now they have to pay him $3.2 million. This is an Operation Protect the White Boy story if I ever seen one. It says a Texas teenager has been awarded a staggering $3.2 million jury verdict after a classmate's mom's fueled viral social media claims that he was a racist bully when he was just doing immature, dumb things. Asher Van, now 19, was accused of racially motivated bullying after he and several other 8th graders were filmed duping their middle school classmate Samarian Humphrey, who was black, into drinking his own urine during a birthday sleepover in Plano in 2021. The classmate's mom, Summer Smith, quickly went public with the race-based claims, alleging at the time that Van and his cohort also hurled slurs at and shot her then 13-year-old son with a BB gun in the racially motivated attack. And this is the one who did it. This is him right here. But a jury last week ruled that Smith's accusations, as well as the subsequent viral narrative that exploded after the teen was outed on social media, had invaded Van's privacy and forced him to endure severe emotional distress. So I guess it's just F what happened to the kid that he did this to. They care more about his emotional state. Y'all, this is exactly why I do those Operation Protect the White Boy videos. This is it right here. So because he's being emotionally perturbed, now they just got to say, you know what? We feel so bad for you. And oh, don't forget, we got to think of your future. You know, you have a bright future ahead of you, and we cannot allow this blemish to just ruin and destroy you. So we're going to not only find you not guilty of any wrongdoing, but we're also going to find a way to make the real culprits, the mother of the teenager that you did this to, and her attorneys pay you this big lump sum, this huge amount of money for your pain and suffering. It says this is a quote from him. This wasn't me doing a racist act. This isn't me hating someone because of their skin color. This was me at an immature stage of my life at a sleepover for my birthday, doing immature, dumb things. Van, who is now a college freshman, told WFAA in the wake of the jury's ruling, and I bet you he ain't going to get kicked out of school. It was immature, it was stupid, it was nasty, but that's not who I am. It was immature and nasty. That is exactly who you are. See, this is what I'm talking about when I talk about privilege. He gets the privilege of literally going through the rest of his life after this blows over and not having to deal with anything. And then on top of that, he gets paid for his quote unquote pain and suffering. I don't like, and see, this is exactly why I say right here, PC, don't come to me talking about y'all ain't got no privilege. What do you call this? Is the claim stemmed from a birthday sleepover that took place in February 2021, where Humphrey alleged that his classmates at Haggard Middle School, what a name for a school, shot him with BB guns during frog hunt before later being tricked into drinking urine. Let me just say this. I don't want to think this, but something tells me this might be it. Was this black kid the only black kid at this sleepover? I have to ask that because every time something like this happens, that's usually always the scenario. Was this kid the only black kid at this party, at this sleepover? I agree, Wallow, most likely. That's all. I just had to ask for reassurance. A Snapchat video of the incident quickly went viral and attracted national media attention, igniting calls for the teens involved to be charged and expelled from school. Police investigated the saga, but never arrested or charged anyone. Van later filed a lawsuit against Smith and her attorney, Kim Cole, alleging they ruined his life with a smear campaign that led to widespread public outrage. And this is the mother right here. This is the degenerate and his attorney right here. Jurors subsequently ruled that Smith and Cole should pay the teen $3.2 million in damages. Despite the legal victory, Van stressed that his life had already been defined by the case. There was no winner in the end. Screw you, sir. Talking about your life is ruined. It should be. But I bet you that $3.2 million is going to be a nice little cushion for the fall. Things are getting better, he added, but I don't feel like I am who I should have been at this age because of that. Smith, meanwhile, has already said she plans to appeal the verdict on behalf of her son. Defending my son was what I should have done, and I would defend my son still, Smith said. I feel the acts were vile, and I feel like that was my opinion of the act. The urinate in the cup to put it to someone's lips to have them drink it is vile. The mother admitted, though, she was saddened about the abuse Van has received over the. We was right there, y'all. We was right there. And then here we are. Let me read this again. And whoever typed this, get your grammar skills up, because that's not how you spell received. The mother admitted, though, she was quote unquote saddened about the abuse Van has received over the years. Why? Why? Why would you be sad? Then this is quoted from her. I never wanted anyone to threaten anyone at the school or anything. I simply wanted them to be held accountable in the proper way. Listen, you cannot predict how people are going to react to a situation such as this. But I should have known it was going to lead to this, because I'm thinking about the quote that she put here. Defending my son is what I should have done. Is no, because this right here is teetering on that territory of I forgive you. That's what it's sounding like. Y'all, we was right there. I don't know why she had to add that, because that makes your whole argument kind of fall flat. If you're willing to say that he should not have to deal with what he's dealing with after what he did or made your son do. And don't forget about the slurs, the shooting him with the BB guns. Like, that's all added in there. I would have never said that. Even if that was something I felt on my spirit, which it wouldn't, I would have never let it leave my mouth. To some of my black people out there, y'all got to get out of this habit. I thought we was headed somewhere with this, but I suppose she's better than me, because I could never do that. All right, y'all, let's move on to the next story, y'all. This one right here, well, actually, it's not necessarily a story. It's more of a video. Hold on, y'all. And this is why I say, don't come to me with that people of color talk as it pertains to black people, especially black Americans. Don't come to me with that. So it says comedian Hans Kim jokes about black Americans not being deported by ICE. So it's only a 19-second clip. Some of you may have seen it, some of you may have not. Let's see. Let's watch it together and we'll talk about it.
My only problem with ICE is that they're going after every minority group except black people. I mean, you're trying to reduce crime. You're just giving them more room to breathe. But I understand. Can you imagine the shape you have to be in to deport black people?
Okay, so that's it. It's only a 19-second clip. It's so much wrong with what he said here. Now, I did get some little backstory about this Hans Kim guy, but let's talk about this clip. So he got up there and he's supposed to be a so-called comedian. Listen, a lot of these individuals claim to be comedians are not comedians. They just spread anti-black propaganda the best way they know how. So he got up there in front of this crowd, and it's probably a majority white crowd, which, by the way, I've heard that when he does his so-called stand-ups, he goes to these small rural towns. So you already know who the demographic is that he's talking and catering to. And he says that ICE needs to deport black people. Now, understand this. He's talking about black Americans. He's talking about FBA, which sounds crazy because you can't deport a group of people who are foundational to the land, whose lineage is here, who were born here, and their lineage goes back generations. And I'm talking about several generations. And he got up there and he said this. Now, what's interesting is there was a lot of people in the Asian community who pushed back against him. Like, there was so many people who made TikToks in response to what he said and were pushing back against what he said. So kudos to them. But I also found out some more interesting stuff about him. This dude apparently gets paid, like, depending on where he goes, he gets paid about $10,000 a show that he does. And especially when he goes out there talking about black people. This is not his first ride at the rodeo. He's done other videos and stand-ups where he's been saying anti-black things, probably even worse than this. And he said that in an interview that someone had with him, that he got paid $300,000 in a year going around to these small rural towns to talk ish about us. I have told y'all that, actually, matter of fact, I don't think I've done it yet, but I have a deep dive coming talking about how being anti-black is a gold mine on social media or just in the public sphere, period. I think I have a deep dive coming about that. And what are the odds that I come across this soon after that? KG said he dates a white woman. Why am I not surprised? Why am I not surprised by that at all? But like I said, nothing he said was even remotely funny. That's why I said anti-black content has become so redundant. It's so repetitive and boring because it's been done and talked about so many times. I feel like, what else can you possibly say? But he's talking about that ICE needs to come and deport us. But these are the same ones that got an anti-Asian hate crime bill a few years ago. And they had to do that on the backs of spreading stuff about us in order to get it. You're welcome, I suppose. I'm gonna be honest, I never heard of this guy until this video came my way. Hopefully the next time I hear about him, it'll be his wake-up call. Let's move on. So this is a very short story right here coming out of Santa Fe. Santa Fe police officer accused of driving drunk to work. Fired and arrested and charged. And this is a very short story. Let's get through it. Her name is Maureen Lujan. An officer at the Santa Fe Police Department is accused of driving drunk to work. Officer Maureen Lujan, age 33, was taken, and that's a haggard-looking 33, was taken into custody Wednesday night. Court records claim she was intoxicated when she arrived for her shift. Court documents state that Lujan admitted to drinking all day at her Rio Rancho home after breaking up with her boyfriend. Okay, if you want to drown your sorrows in a bottle, then so be it. But don't get behind the wheels of a car and risk taking someone else's life. A deputy from the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Office was called by officers after Lujan arrived for work. Court documents state her blood alcohol levels were recorded at 0.18 and 0.19. She was way over the legal limit. Because I think the legal limit is like a point. I think like a 0.04. And she was at a 0.18 and 19. That's crazy. That means she did that breathalyzer test and it came up 0.18 and they did it again and it went up a point. Oh, it's 0.08. Okay. I knew it was under 0.10. I knew it was under that, but she was 10 and 11 over. They said Lujan is in custody and charged with DWI, driving while intoxicated. Well, like I said, luckily she didn't cause any casualties while she was out on that road. So yeah, that was a very short story right there. Let's move on to the next one. Now, this story right here was actually the subject matter of Professor Black Truth's recent Friday crime report. And this is talking about that situation that happened in Rhode Island at that hockey game where that individual opened fire and did what they did. So let's go ahead and see what they're talking about on here.
Tonight, Rhode Island officials praising Good Samaritans who stepped in during a deadly shooting at a high school hockey game.
Their courage undoubtedly prevented further loss and injury, and we thank them for that.
Police say 56-year-old Robert Dorgan, who also went by Roberta, shot and killed ex-wife Rhonda Dorgan and son Aiden in the stands before pulling out a second gun and dying by suicide. One of the suspect's daughters, Amanda, speaking to NBC affiliate WJAR.
His whole adulthood, he's struggled with mental health issues, but when somebody doesn't want to get help, they won't.
Court documents show Rhonda Dorgan filed for divorce from Robert in 2020, citing gender reassignment surgery, narcissistic and personality disorder traits, which was crossed out and replaced with irreconcilable differences. Hours after witnessing her loved ones get shot, Amanda writing on GoFundMe, "Our family has been forever changed," adding her younger siblings, including one playing in yesterday's game, are now facing the future without their parents and older brother. To the arena to collect equipment a day after the shooting.
I was on the ice and I thought it was balloons at first.
While people in the community showed their support, placing hockey sticks on doorsteps and outside the arena.
Police do not think there was a confrontation right before the shooting that also critically injured 3 people, identified as the ex-wife's parents and a family friend. Tom?
We thank you.
All right, so that's the story right there. Before I get into it, let me acknowledge it was some people that dropped some memberships. Shout out to DSB for being a member for 34 months. He said, "Shalom, Torian, my warrior brother. I appreciate you." Shout out to you. And shout out to Savion for being a member for 27 months. He said, "I wonder what Hall T got to say about this." I have yet to hear Hall T say anything, but you know the usual suspects, the other ones, are immediately going in on this because they love to say and do the whole thing of, "Oh, this was a Hall T member. This is nothing to do with us," but he was still white though. I'm sorry, they were still white though. And in the words of Rob, familicide, because this individual took out their wife, or the mother of their child, the son, and then themselves. And I saw the raw footage on Twitter. I saw the actual raw footage on Twitter, and the thing is so crazy because it's someone who's recording it. You know, when you're recording those games, you're up at a high point so you can catch the whole, like either the field or in this case, the ice. And all of a sudden, while the players are playing, you hear pop, 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 and they are literally running off that ice in ice skates, which is hard to do. And they are scurrying off that ice. People are scattering like roaches when the lights come on. And then they point over to where the shooting is coming from. And you can actually see him firing off, like literal rounds out in that arena. Shout out to Jay Cage for the 20. He said, "Torian, you didn't say it right. Crime report." Oh, right. The Friday crime report. He said, but yeah, another sick POS, definitely. I appreciate you. And it's crazy too when you say that, because whenever Professor Black does the Friday Crime Report and he's saying it, I literally say it like he's saying it when he gets ready to say it. But yeah, this is insane. So it's only what, February. I'm sure there's probably some others that have happened that we don't know about. Right there in the arena, I'm willing to bet that this was planned. This was not something that you just do off the cuff. My thing is this: how in the world did he even get into the arena with that gun? But they want to have security checkpoints at, the quote unquote urban schools. They need to have them at this school. They need to, if they're going to do it at one school, they need to do it at all of them. Isn't it interesting how a lot of the places where all these mass school shootings occur at, they typically happen at these PC schools, but they don't have the proper security measures when it comes to them getting these guns into the school. But they want to put all the metal detectors up at the black schools. When's the last time a mass shooting happened at a majority black school? I'm just saying. Okay. Let me move on to this nonsense right here. Oh, when I saw this, I'll admit I had cried tears. I cried from laughing so hard at this when I saw this yesterday. And it was more than once too. And shout out to also Dewan, because he talked about this on his live yesterday. Then I sent the video to Afro, and I said, had he heard about it? And he he was dying laughing when he watched this. This is absolutely insane. So I'm laughing now because it's so dumb. He apparently is starting his own movement now. I'm not going to say what it is. I'm going to allow you to hear this nonsense for yourself, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
So my movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing is going to be the DAFA movement. DAFA, descendants of African freedmen in America. Remember, Loom, after freedom came, we were known as what? Freedmen. That was a legal classification. We were the freedmen. My 3 times great-grandfather George fought in the Civil War. My 4 times great-grandfather Steve fought in the Civil War. My cousins Lewis and Charles, the sons of Frederick Douglass, fought in the Civil War. I'm a descendant of freedmen who fought to keep this country from being divided. And we have rights as freedmen. So we're fighting as descendants of African, not no American. You ain't never putting that in no title, no organization of mine. Descendants of African freedmen in America. So
boy, if you don't get the fuck out of my face.
To counteract,
I don't even want to hear that. I don't even want to participate. Don't even put that on me. Ancestors, get that energy off of me, please. Wipe it off me. God, I don't even want that energy on me. Don't put that on me. I don't want to be a part of that prayer chain. Hell to the nah.
What in the world is he said, I'm starting it's how he said it that made me laugh.
My movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing is going to be the DAFA movement.
It's how he said it, the DAFA movement. The descendants of African freedmen in America. I'm like, he's saying this with such conviction, like anyone's going to take this remotely serious. Who out there is going to be supporting the DAFA movement? Oh my God. And then to make matters worse, I was watching a live stream yesterday. It was later on. And shout out to Watch TV. This dude, Umar, was out somewhere. I don't know where he was at. I guess he was out there talking about that so-called school. It looked like he was outside of a garage shed. And this dude out there talking about pouring out libations for, I don't know who it was, some prominent figure. But this dude is out there saying he gonna pour out these libations using ginger ale. I cannot take this dude seriously. And it's crazy because at one time he was someone that people held in high regard as someone that they saw as genuine. But now, and I'm gonna kind of echo what someone said, he's become literally a meme caricature, like literally a meme caricature for jokes and laughs and giggles, much like this right here. Because who's supporting a Dafa movement, as he says it? The descendants of African freedmen in America. Right, wasting good ginger ale. This is sad. This is so sad in more ways than one. And the thing is, he actually believes everything that he says. While everyone around him is taking him as a joke, and rightfully so, he actually believes every word that comes out of his mouth. And it's funny because in the video that I'm talking about with the libations with the ginger ale, he's saying all this nonsense, but he ends the video off in the best way he knows how. If you donate to this and donate to that, who remembers Pastor Kearney Thomas? He was a evangelist that used to come on early in the morning on BET back in the early 2000s, and he used to be yelling God all the time, waking people up. I know that was my personal alarm clock for a little bit. That's who he reminds me of. That's exactly who he reminds me of. I gotta play this one more time because that is how, again, is how he says it.
My movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing is going to be the Dafa movement.
I guess he says if you can't beat him, hey, let me do something else. But notice that he says my movement that's going to counteract.
So my movement to counteract the negativity of these movements we're discussing.
Now, mind you, the discussion, of course, was FBA, and he keeps referring to it as a movement, but he keeps saying that it's going to counteract this. How are you going to counteract a lineage? That makes no sense. The descendants of African freedmen in America. Because he wants everything that he has to be tied back to Pan-Africanism. But one of the funniest nicknames that I've heard that was given to him was the Prince of Pan Pizza. Chaz, I saw that. The Give Me Your Grit Money, I saw that. I think he played it was sometime last week. I never saw that video, and I'm over there dying. Like, give me your grit money. What? Daniel said, master scam artist. The thing is, we already see through his grift. I don't know how much of a master of a scam artist he thinks he is. We know who he panders to, but I think even they are starting to see the many errors in his ways. Let's move past him, but let's move on to this clown right here. So, as y'all know or may not know, Donald Trump had a Black History program. Okay, fine, whatever. But it was this woman right here that went up there and made a complete and utter fool of herself. Let me read what Fox News said about it. It says, let him do his job. Felicia Cook, who tragically lost her grandson to violence in Washington, D.C., defended President Trump for his crackdown on crime in Washington and cities across the country. Let's look at this.
I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him. And Grandma said it.
And that's all she said. That's all she said. I swear, if that woman would have shook herself any harder, that wig would have flew right off. And I want y'all to also pay attention to. Look at how Trump is smiling. That's one of those wicked smiles. And he does that typically whenever someone pats him on the rear. They could be saying a whole bunch of nonsense, which this definitely was. But as long as it paints him in a good light, he's all for it. We got one more story to do after this, Ms. Neeson, and then I'm gonna drop the link. But okay, she's up there because her grandson was taken out. Okay, but when I'm gonna be honest with you, I completely forgot about that after seeing this display of mammyism right here. Like, I completely forgot that what happened to her son. I mean, her grandson. Because in that moment, it looked like she was making it about her and not about him. And like I said, and also too, I saw a video from Rob Bousset-Smith. And, you know, he was recording a video where people were standing outside, I guess, waiting to go into the White House for this Black History program. And of course, he said the same thing that he said, or the rest of them like to say. Well, all these Black people are out here, you know, just going into the White House to go see Donald Trump for this Black History Month program. If he's allowing all these Black people to come into the White House, how in the world can he be a racist? I said, spoken like a true field hand. And someone left a comment and said, well, why aren't they going? Well, why didn't they get an invite to Mar-a-Lago? And someone actually said what I was going to reply with. They said because they gave the butlers and maids the day off, or someone would have mistaked them for the help. That's why I said every time I see a video with Tiny Terry wearing a suit and chucking and driving the way he does, I say he literally looks like the help. But now I got to go into this last story. Now, this last one is no laughing matter. Granted, we laughed at the last couple of ones, but this one right here is a serious one. So there was a story that came out of Cobb County. It says, family says missing man out of Atlanta Park found dead in Cobb County Park. Now, KG or any of my other people that live down in Georgia, I'm sure y'all heard about this story. It says the family of a man who was reported missing out of Atlanta said he was found dead in the Cobb County Park. Cobb County police said officers were called to Fair Oaks Park, 1465 West Booth Road at around 9:46 a.m. after receiving a 911 call about a dead person in the wooded area of the park on February 18th. Police said witnesses reported seeing him enter the wooded area alone on Valentine's Day at around 4:28 p.m. Detectives found no evidence indicating that anyone else was involved, and there is no signs of foul play. Exactly, KG. I feel the same exact way. It says police said the person was a 21-year-old man from Atlanta, but would not release his name. They have actually released his name. His name is Kyle Basinga or Basinga, but I think it's pronounced Basinga. It says reports have been circulating online about a man from Atlanta who went missing, who matched the description of the man found in the park. 11 Alive reached out to the Atlanta Police Department, and they confirmed that a man named Kyle Basinga was reported missing on Sunday, February 15th. However, neither Cobb County Police nor Atlanta Police would confirm that the man found dead in the park was him. It says they released this statement out of respect for the family and the sensitive nature of this incident. We are not releasing the individual's name. Our focus remains on supporting the family and ensuring the investigation is handled appropriately. And it goes on and on and on, but they don't say what actually happened to him. But really what it is this. They found him hanging in this park from a tree. And the immediate thing was, oh, it wasn't any foul play. Let me pull this picture up. This is him right here. They say that it was no foul play. And I said, here they go again. This reminds me, y'all remember the twins, those two twins, the ones that were supposed to be going up north and they never made it to the airport. They said they got into an Uber and the Uber they never got in. They never even checked in at the airport. And then they found them miles and miles away on top of this mountain. And they said one was a gunshot wound and the other one was self-inflicted. They said that it was a N-word, S-word, also in Georgia. Notice we haven't heard anything about that story since then. The only thing that they had was that firefighter, and that was it. You didn't hear anything else about it since then. And that's why I'm side-eyeing this too. Notice every time there's a story about a black person found hanging somewhere, they always say that it was no foul play and that they are ruling it as this. They don't give it no time to play out. They don't do no investigation. They just say, oh, it was this. Now you got to ask yourself this. Why would someone walk into a wooded area to do this? And they said people say they saw him walk. Who are these people that claim to have saw him walk into this park alone at night? Notice they didn't say they didn't see him with any rope either. So are you saying that it was already there? Like again, it's so many questions that need answering. And every time something like this happens, they always also say that they were alone. It was never with other people around. But yeah, something is very suspect about this case, and I'm not falling for that nonsense they're talking about with the no foul play. I'm not falling for it. But that's just me. And I hope the family don't either. But I'm almost certain they probably gonna look more into it. And they should. But RIP to him either way. Only 21 years old. That is insane. But let me go ahead now and drop the link in the chat so y'all can come up and discuss these stories briefly. And let me go ahead and get my timer. Walla, what's going on?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on, everybody in the chat? When I first saw the story about the the one in was it in Connecticut, that hockey story? I can't remember, but the one in the north. Yeah. I sat there and said to myself, ain't no way, how do you get a gun into a school like that? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what type of gun it was, but I was just like, how did he probably just walked right in there like it was normal, because he looked a certain type of way, then went in there and shot and unalived his quote unquote wife and his other child over what? And then try to blame it on, well, it's the same old tired thing. Mm-hmm. I'm done with that mental health stuff. And then they always try to say, well, this is the trans community fault. No, if y'all understand, the trans community is technically white people. Because if you understand that whole community, it's mostly them folks that represent that community, and a lot of black LGBT people will tell you, like, they don't care about us like that. We're in the back. Cause I vividly remember a activist that is in that community, black activists, talking about how they get mistreated all the time in that community, but they don't talk about it. So it's like, for them to do all that, for that man to do that, I do pray for their daughter or their family member, because that's just messed up. Also, I wanted to talk about something else, but Umar Johnson had me rolling, Torian. That I was like, what the how? whatever he said just made no sense. It just made zero sense.
Wallo, I gotta ask, will you be supporting the Dafa movement?
The Dafa. The Dafa. I don't know. It sounds like some chant from the ancient past. No, I'm FBA all day, Torn. Let me get off. I'll land my plane there. Be one.
All right. Yeah, he's a clown. Let's see who we bringing up next. Y'all already know what time it is.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Hey, Miss Nisi. I know
Hey, Torian. Hey, family in the chat. First off, that Dafa needs to be called the fuck. All right, that's what I got to say on that. Fuck Umar. Anywho, the woman and her son.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, and I'm only speaking for me. Now I think the family know where I stand on this. You don't let your child go to Nabisco's house. Don't do it. Never, ever. You know my stance, Torian.
Mm-hmm.
And my black ass will be in jail before I give up 1 red cent. Do you hear me?
Oh, I hear you loud and clear.
Hell no. That's some straight up bullshit. And what was that other one I wanted to comment on? Ugh.
Was it the let me see. Was it the shooting?
That's white people business. I don't give a shit about that. I'm just being honest.
The woman at the White House.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. Jesus. Thank you, Torian. You have spoken with me, you know. Lord have mercy. That's just my opinion. She couldn't have been FBA. That was a tether. That's what I believe. That was a tether. And for her to get up there and embarrass herself in front of all them people, my God.
Let me tell you something. She didn't embarrass us. She was in her element. Because all them other ones that was in there, they would listen, given the opportunity, they would have got up there and did the same thing she did. There was nothing but a bunch of tap dances in that entire crowd. She was right at home.
So it was a farce from the jump.
Listen, it was a quote unquote Black History event. That's the only time of the year where Trump will allow that many Black people to be in his presence at one given time. Because he did the same thing last year. After that, he doesn't have that many Black people around him like that for the rest of the year. That's the most that he will have at one time in one room in one day.
Unfreaking believable. Well, I ain't with no mammyism. That I don't get down like that.
We already know.
All right. But anyway, it's snowing here. Big fat flakes here in West Virginia.
Oh, then I know we probably getting it soon because we like neighbors. So hey, whatever you get, we gonna get.
Well, I'm gonna play it by ear tomorrow. My ass is old, my car is paid for, and I ain't breaking no bones or wrecking my car on some bullshit, you know?
Oh, I hear you. And I don't expect you and don't want you to either.
Oh, I ain't gonna do it. I got to. That's why I sit on my vacation days. I look, I say, oh no work for me today. All right, baby, that's all I got. B1.
B1. All right, shout out to Miss Nisi. Okay, we're gonna keep it moving. Next up, we got AW1. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Tori? It's good to talk to you in the new year. How's 2026 been to you, man?
It's been good so far. How about you?
Still surviving. Just sometimes I just want to move out of the state I'm in, man. Everything just goes up every year, bruh. Rent, everything. But anyway, let's talk about the topic, not about me. But it's amazing. That school shooting, what happened to that? You made a good point about there's metal detectors at the Black schools.
Mm-hmm. Remember, at one point in time, I don't know if they still have them, but some Black schools used to have bars on the windows. I said, "Are they going to school?"
Yeah, for sure. And but here's the thing: this is when white privilege comes in. They can just say, "Well, that's the trans community," or "That's the left, that's the right."
Exactly. That's what they led with. They always do that, and they that's not the first time they did it. When I saw that this man was clearly Hall T, I said, "Oh Lord, I know exactly how the usual suspects are going to handle this."
Oh,
they're
they're
going to put on that community, but they're never going to say white on white crime. They'll never say
that.
So they'll just say something else there. I'm like, at the end of the day, whether this man was trans, whether he was left leaning, he was still white at the end of the day. And not only did he take out other white people, he took out his wife and one of his kids,
right,
and then himself.
Yeah, he went out like a coward, of course. And then and on top of that, and the thing, it reminds me of what happened to like Charlie when he got PP.
Yeah.
They did. What did they do? Even though this dude grew up in a Christian conservative family, Piers Morgan lead the charge, and other people that left the left, did the why left the left grift, blamed it on the left. And it's not me taking up for the left, but it's like this is just white privilege. This is just white privilege exposing itself.
But they would be the same ones to say we need to take accountability. The same exact ones.
Exactly.
If they don't do it. I'm talking to y'all. This is exactly why when I be doing these videos, stuff like this actually goes through my mind, and it gives me ideas when I do these deep dives, because a lot of the ideas that I come up to do with these deep dives comes from stuff that I see in everyday life that I always question, but never took the time to sit down and really process. Why is this way? How did it get there? What can come out of this? Is there a solution? Is there not a solution? And then I said, you know what? Let me just start doing these series of videos. And before you continue to go, and I paused it so I can give you be fair with your time. For those who don't know, I made, and Ms. Nisi, I hope you're still here because you was the one asking about it. I made the deep dive playlist. The deep dive playlist is available. So that means that if you want to go watch deep dives that I've already done and you didn't see them, they're all in a playlist. I have them gone all the way back to maybe November. And remember, I drop them every Wednesday. Those deep dives happen on every Wednesday. Part 3 of the gender war one is coming this Wednesday. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Oh, you can continue.
But yeah, but all I can say is, Torian, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Stay independent, stay woke, be one.
Be one. I paused the timer while so I could give him, be fair with his time when I was talking. I didn't want to eat up his time, but he did have like 30 seconds left on the clock though. So he got out of there before you could get your wish. All right, next up we got the mayor. What's going on?
Hey, salute, certified salute. Salute to you, Torian. Salute to the chat. Salute to the family. I was just have to say that damn transgender, he looked like this cat we know out here in Denver called Anna. He one of them Transformers too. That I don't them crackers them biscuits don't surprise me on what they do. So that's my regards on that story. In regards to the other stories though, that damn mammy that was cooning it up for Trump, that shit was funny. The Asian dude, he's been a problem for a minute, so we need to counsel him like we counsel so many others. And who else? There was some more stories I wanted to chop in on. Oh, that damn Brock Turner, similar mug to Brock Turner with the influenza team. That's how they treated that white boy in the beginning. The first 2 stories you covered. Yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
I didn't think about that. But yeah, he does remind me of Affluenza Boy.
Yeah, Affluenza Boy, and then the dude that chopped up the sister. That reminded me of Sade Robinson.
Yeah.
And then what else? Oh, the Kubar shit, the Far shit. Like what the hell was that?
Oh, it's just I'm gonna ask you like I asked everyone else. Will you be supporting the Dafar movement?
Yeah, I ain't supporting that shit. FBA over here until we die. No Dafar. He's talking about he gonna open up the school. I'll believe it when I see it. I met
and pour out them libations, ginger ale libations.
And I met that fool too. He came to the Potter house, as a matter of fact, or the church across the street from the Potter's house, the Rising Star back in 2016. I met him. I donated to that damn school. I want my damn money back. I didn't even get the book, but I wanted that. I wanted that school, and it's been 16 years, and we still ain't got no goddamn school. Like, what the hell? I want my money back. I think I donated like $50 to that bullshit. I want my money back for real. But that's all I got, Torian. Make sure y'all check us out later on Frontline Black News.
Appreciate you. Shout out to the man for coming up. All right, let's next up we got Church. What's going on?
What's going on, Torian? How you doing today?
I'm doing good, but I gotta ask you, will you be supporting the Dafa movement?
I'll be supporting him going back to Africa with that. No problem. I will buy him a plane ticket. You know what I mean? That's as far as my support will extend. Shout out to the family. First, let me say the mother who's being sued due to her son going through the issue that he went through, any lawyer worth their salt can get that tossed out. You know what I mean? It sounds like that this wasn't one situation. These were two different court cases, one being the acquittal of the nasty ass Nabisco child, and then also them going back around and then trying to, run this lawsuit on her. So if that's the case, then yes, that appeal can be tossed the hell out because this is ludicrous. I have never heard of anybody who's bullied, because I still consider bullying, regardless of whether it's racist or not, it's still considered bullying. I have never seen a case where a child can go and bully another child, and then the mother of the child that's being bullied have to turn around and pay millions of dollars out to that bully. No, that's crazy. That is very asinine. Also, with the familicide situation, these Nabiscos can't get around it. You're the problem. It is Nabisco on Nabisco crime. And the more that these folks pretend that they don't see it, the more is going to happen. Right now, I seen an article, and I'm going to be talking about this later in the week, where we're at the first time in history the Nabisco is actually the minority in this country. Just came out. There are more people being unalived than being born. And so they're going to be coming with a lot of nonsense, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's all against each other for this very same reason. Even though their numbers are dwindling, they're going to continue to keep their numbers dwindling. That's just my opinion. But also, let me land with this: Trump. He said Nicki Minaj is one of the blacks. I'll land there, family. Much love to you. Thank you.
Oh, my bad, Church. I didn't mean to cut you off, but wait, he said, hold on. If he actually said that, I'm going to have to go look that up. But I wouldn't be surprised if he did. All right, next up, we got Joseph. What's going on?
Salute, Torian. Salute to the chat room. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but first I got to ask, will you be supporting the Dafa movement?
I can't. I won't. Why?
I'm gonna just be asking random people that just to get a good laugh, because this is so funny to me. It is hilarious, but go ahead.
To Umar, please go off grid. Because when you said he's starting to become a meme, you already know that, you need to, not be in the public eye for a while and reinvent yourself. Because, and Tariq said this about Umar himself, great speaker, but unfortunately he burned too many bridges with people who genuinely wanted to help him. And as with some of these stories, I'm glad you brought up that school shooting that happened. I think you're the second one who brought that up. The first one was Professor Black Truth during his crime report.
Yeah.
And
because we know they're gonna brush that, they're gonna sweep that right under the rug and make sure it stays under that rug. And even though the video was out there, like, you can see the raw footage of it happening when it happened.
Right. At first, when I saw it, I thought to myself, wait a minute, it's like, what are they running from? And then I started to hear, those firework shots. And Yeah. Oh, also, I feel so bad for what happened to that little boy and the nerve of the culprit asking for compensation for doing that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember the MTV show Bully Beatdown?
Briefly, I heard of it, but I don't think I watched it.
That dude would be the perfect candidate for it. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
As well as a couple of others that do these heinous things to like our kids. And I'm a land there. Thank you for having me up.
Appreciate you coming up. Shout out to Joseph. And this most likely is going to be the last person. And no, brother man, I will not be supporting no DAFA. What in the world? But the person I'm bringing up, Mike, what's going on? KJ, I already know that this is you.
Good afternoon, sir.
The descendant of all fleeing Africa. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What's going on?
I know I'm not Black American, so I'm not going to support it. I also, the default, I should, but I'm not. I'm good. There's enough Africans in Jamaica right now. We're good. But shout out to Misty Stone for going. I guess the porn industry really is going through it. She had to run to Trump. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Misty Stone. But that chick, I smelled Bammy on her. But we're not gonna go there yet. I'm doing my research. But from what I'm seeing, she might be Caribbean, so it makes sense. She might not have.
I'm telling you, if she shook any harder, that wig was flying.
Like, oh, did you see the other one? Oh, you didn't see the older one. No, you didn't see the older woman.
No, I didn't know there was another one.
Oh yeah, you gotta go look that up. The grandma chick. Oh, she was worse.
Oh, it's all performative at the end of the day.
I guess. I mean, the Georgia's supposed to be the battleground again this year with the midterm. I mean, the Republicans still haven't said who they're gonna run again. So Keisha Bottom B. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough out here, but Umar can go to hell. I don't know I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get back on the Breakfast Club because everything's falling apart. But even at this point, they don't even want him on there. But, it is what it is. But I'm gonna head back to work.
All right, appreciate you coming up. All right, y'all. So KG was the last person to come up and speak. Shout out to KG for coming up. Shout out to everybody who came up and spoke, and also, shout out to everyone who contributed. All the people who are still active members on the channel. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Jay Cage for contributing to the super chat. I appreciate you. And you right, Scoop. That school ain't never opening up. It's not opening up. We have a better chance of getting the Blade movie before we get that school. Just saying. Video coming tomorrow is a Blacarian entry. It's been a while since I've done a Blacarian video. It's going to be on someone that I've done it on before, but it's been years since I last spoke on them. As a matter of fact, they were one of my early Blacarian entries, and they said something egregious that I just could not ignore. And we're going to go over that tomorrow. And I'm trying to decide. There's a live that I want to do tomorrow, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do it tomorrow or save it for Tuesday. I might save it for Tuesday. That way I have that day in between, because I don't like doing back-to-back lives like that unless it's the weekend of me doing the weekly recap and the True Crime Sunday. But True Crime Sunday, that's just us watching something, so that's simple. So I might just save that live for Tuesday. But yes, there will be a video coming tomorrow at 10:30. I'll put the premiere window up. I might put it up after this live, honestly, and you'll see who it's going to be on. With that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. If y'all are on the East Coast, like myself, Miss Nisi, and anyone who's on the upper Northeast Coast for that matter, stay safe out there. If you don't have to go anywhere, please don't, because the conditions are going to be bad. I had to call off today just to make sure that I didn't get caught up in it getting off. Rather be safe than sorry. But y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Talk to you all tomorrow. Be safe, stay warm, and of course, be one.